Concluded. The Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has already performed one humiliating budget backflip on the energy payment, but his budget still gives more than 2 million workers a tax cut of less than $5 a week, while bankers and CEOs get $11,000 a year. So why won't he do another backflip today and give retail assistants, cleaners and manufacturing workers the tax cut that they deserve?
The Treasurer has the call.
Well, Mr Speaker, on this side of the House we're very proud of the fact that in last night's budget 13.3 million taxpayers will be better off, Mr Speaker. And we believe on this side of the House in lower taxes. Mr Speaker, we believe on this side of the House that people should earn more and keep more of what they earn, Mr Speaker. We believe that we need a flatter, simpler tax system that remains progressive, Mr Speaker. Under the reforms that we announced last night, the top 5% of taxpayers will continue to pay about a third of the overall tax burden, Mr Speaker. And the top 1% of taxpayers will actually increase their proportion of the overall tax burden under the reforms that we have put in place. And that somebody earning $200,000 will be paying 10 times the amount of tax that someone who's earning $45,000, Mr Speaker. Now, here in Australia, the top marginal rate of tax cuts in at about 2.2 times average full-time earnings, Mr Speaker. In the United Kingdom, it cuts in at 4 times, Mr Speaker. In the United States, it cuts in at 8 times, Mr Speaker. We have a progressive system in this place, Mr Speaker, and in this country, and we're proud of it. But what we're also proud of is the fact that we return the people's money, because it's not our money, it's their money, Mr Speaker. And the Labor Party believes that you need to always chase higher spending with higher taxes, Mr Speaker.
The Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Well, that doesn't end well, Mr Speaker. And when the budget papers show that dwelling investment will fall by 7% in 2019-2020, you know it's the worst possible time for Labor's new housing tax, Mr Speaker. You know that Labor's policy to drive rents up by 22% and drive house prices down by 16% comes at exactly the worst time. And the member for McMahon knows why. Because if you send dwelling investment down, if you send housing prices down, it will impact on household consumption. And household consumption is 60% of GDP. And we need household consumption to be strong. So the Labor Party, by sending people's prices down with their house and their rents up, will be hurting household consumption, Mr Speaker. Not to mention the retirees, Mr Speaker. Over 1 million retirees in Australia have saved diligently and done nothing wrong except do exactly that, take responsibility for their own savings and their own future. But the Labor Party is coming after their savings. And I say to the member for McMahon, why is it okay? Why is it okay for somebody who has their money in an industry super fund to still continue to get their franking credits, Mr Speaker, but someone who's a self-funded retiree is having them ripped away by the Labor Party? The hypocrisy in your policy. Mr Speaker, only the coalition will lower people's tax.